Hey, what's up you guys, it's IAmTheLionRider, and in today's video I am going to be going over part 2 of my 2-part mini-series on which is the better of the two DLC types. So in my last video, I had a whole video in defense of animal packs and why we need more of them. And in this video, I am going to do the exact opposite. I am going to play both sides, as it were, because I think scenery packs, and I'll define what a scenery pack is, in a minute, needs just as much of a defense. Because my last video was very well received. Everyone very much thought I had excellent points about why we need more animal packs. And so I thought, you know what, we definitely need a strong defense to defend the traditional packs. So this video is going to be covering that exact topic. So again, animal lovers, please have an open mind before you go into this video. I know you might have already made up your mind, but please have an open mind about what I'm going to say in this video. So without further ado, sit back and relax, and let's get started. So the first point that I want to make in defense of scenery packs, and let's define what a scenery pack is. So a scenery pack, for the purposes of this video, is any pack that is the traditional format. So even though it is called a scenery pack for this video, they are the packs that do normally include 4 animals and an exhibit animal, as well as 150 to 300 prop pieces, give or take. So these are your standard traditional packs similar to Aquatic, South America, Australia, or Africa, as an example. So the first point that I want to make is, when you are building in the game, what are you doing? You are building. What do you need to build? Scenery pieces. And I don't care what player you are. There isn't a single person who picked up Planet Zoo and did 0 building. Because at minimum, to even just look at your animals at a base level, you need to build some form of a habitat. And there are a few ways to do that. You could manually make these elaborate, grand habitats that are super themed and highly detailed, and that is usually the type of people like myself or my other content creator friends and stuff that we make. That is the stuff that we do. That's why time lapses are very popular on the internet. That's why the workshop is booming with these crazy elaborate builds. Frontier highlights them a lot. These are the crazy elaborate builds that would not be possible if it wasn't for scenery. And so you'll notice that for content creators or people who really like building, which again, in my next point I'll bring that up, is a huge portion of the community. Whether, you know, I did defend how animal lovers are a big part of the community too, but builders are another huge portion as well. And so you do spend, no matter who you are, about 90% of the time building zoos. They might not be the greatest habitats, but you are always building habitats, or main streets, or gift shops, or different types of concession stands or something. Your builds might not be a Rudy Rankamel level build, but it is still building regardless, and the more options you have available via scenery, the better you're going to be able to make a more creative decision. So, as an example, scenery in many cases is for the animals. So I want you to imagine a habitat, right? A habitat is very rarely just you place the animal in a field and that's that. Sometimes it is, but not always. And so sometimes you want a little bit of theming, and sometimes that theming can be enrichment focused. So as an example, in the new Africa pack, yeah, a lot of it was heavily themed to the kind of Moroccan, North African architecture and stuff. However, we got some pretty awesome pieces in the form of chain link and stuff. Chain link is a highly desirable piece for the game, because what do most zoos have? Chain link. And that was excellent for making brand new types of architecture for habitats. Stuff like walkways for apes or monkeys, or adding like supports for the animals and stuff, which is all to help their welfare to make better habitats. And in many cases, the plaster pieces and stuff that the animals can climb on help you build better climbing frames so that you can view your animals better. And more importantly, let's say you don't do any building yourself. If you get stuff off the workshop, The people that designed that stuff on the workshop needed those pieces to be able to build that stuff that you're just plopping down into your zoo. So even though you may not use them personally, you probably use something that someone else made, which did need to use them. So from that perspective, to get that crazy cool stuff that you downloaded, they needed scenery, which the only way to get scenery in the current form is through a traditional pack, a scenery pack. So that is the first and largest point that I want to make. If you just want to stare at animals, you can do that for free. And so this is another point that I want to make up. So the people who say they love animals, and I'm not going for your throat or anything, but the people who say, I like just staring at the animals and watching them run around. I can tell you right now, you probably don't play the game nearly as much as the majority of people that I'm referring to that like scenery packs. I'm talking about people with 500, thousands of hours in the game. They're doing gameplay in the form of building. If you're just staring at animals, I can't imagine you're spending more than an hour at a time looking at animals, because the AI in the game just isn't that advanced to where it's that visually intriguing to look at the animals. Which brings me to another point that I want to mention, which is if you are just looking at animals, you are getting the exact same experience as watching a YouTube video. There is literally zero difference between going on a smiling potato video and just watching the animals run if you're just loading up the game to look at the animals. I look at the animals probably considerably more than most people do to modding, because I just load into the game, look at the animal quick, have it walk around, make sure everything's okay, and then that's it. So I can tell you it's not a very engaging experience. Now, I will always give credit where credit is due. The animals in game look awesome. They are visually amazing looking. But their AI isn't the greatest. They glitch a lot, they mess up, and sometimes that is really funny to watch. But it's not like these crazy elaborate animations that you don't see repeating over and over again. The animals basically just walk around, sit, poop, get up, think about where they want to go next, walk around, poop again. It's really not that advanced. If they're monkeys, they'll climb and glitch out. Like, it's just kind of a thing where I can't really imagine that people who say they just like looking at the animals spend that much time playing the game relative to the people who spend hours to days to years of their life building these elaborate grand zoos and stuff. So, strictly speaking off of time spent playing the game, I feel like the builders have a stronger argument that they are the more hardcore zoo fans. They are the more, what's the word? They spend more time playing the game than the animal lovers do. Now, that brings me to a great point that I want to mention, which is, if you want to build an implied habitat, you absolutely can. And so a person who doesn't own Southeast Asia would have the exact same experience building an implied sun bear habitat as the person who actually owns the Southeast Asia DLC, because you can both build the exact same habitat since there's no piece limitation. That can't be said about scenery packs. So a person could not build the same cool looking aquatic enclosure without the aquatic pack that they could for, like I said, a clouded leopard or a sun bear or something. The only difference is, at the end of the day, the Southeast Asia owner can place down that sun bear, look at it, and then the other person can't. They have to use like a fake version, a Formosan black bear or something. But if people can kind of look past that, which I'm willing to like hedge my bets that a lot of people do, you really don't have a strong argument that, oh, we need more animal packs just to look at them for 5 seconds and then that's it. And that is why a pack like Southeast Asia didn't have long-lasting retention within the Planet Zoo community, seemingly. I know a lot of people are like, why is Southeast Asia not doing as well? Why don't people want to cover it as much? It's because animals didn't add gameplay, which brings me up to my next point, which is scenery, no matter what, is going to inherently add new gameplay to the game. Scenery is a kind of a blanket term, because it can kind of encompass stuff like, obviously, your traditional architecture pieces or something, but also enrichment items or new types of walls or stuff of that nature. Billboards I would consider in the scenery category. Stuff that just changes the way that you play the game, which is, again, building in zoos. And so scenery is always going to inherently add new additions to that. But if we look at Southeast Asia, there really wasn't anything that wasn't already in the game. If you wanted to build a bear habitat, we already had a bear. We already had a small cat. We already had a type of monkey. We already had a type of canine. We actually had like 10 types of canine. So Southeast Asia just didn't have a lot of long-lasting potential because you could kind of make all of what it offered already. Obviously, the animals looked great, but that was kind of, it faded really quickly, probably within the first few days, because once everyone looked at the animals, like I said, they were like, okay, what now? And that brings me to another point that I want to bring up, which is the idea of, we don't need more scenery because that area is covered, seemingly is never true. Because look at how Southeast Asia was received. Everyone who loved the DLC still thought, it would have been nice if we had a handful of props from Southeast Asia, because everyone wanted to build that kind of Thai or Cambodian architecture. And the reality was, couldn't really do it, because there was just no pieces to work with. So instead, everyone kind of had to like hodgepodge together either these crazy elaborate, very piece-intensive Thai buildings, or they had to resort back to the next best thing, which was India or East Asia, which really aren't really what people were looking for their Barbarossa habitats or something. And so I fear that will be the case for future animal packs, that let's say North America, was indeed a animal pack. If that is true, then a lot of people who wanted that kind of wilderness lodge type vibe, or maybe a bayou theme, I don't know what the North America theme would be, but whatever it is, it's not currently available in the game unless you spend a ton of pieces. So, as an example, flagstone, that is very prominent in a lot of different types of wooden lodges or something, just isn't in the game right now. So you either have to manually build it, and people like Haribo have created crazy wall sets that have, or you just have to kind of find something else. And so themes for that sort of thing are always useful. And I can't tell you how many times people talk about, I wish we had stuffed animals for gift shops, I wish we had more General Zoo stuff. The only way we're getting that is through a theme pack or a scenery pack. So, just again, no matter what, we can never have enough props, much like we can never have enough animals. So, the next point I want to bring up is a little controversial, but sort of true. And so, if we look at animals, you do still get animals with these scenery packs. And in many cases, and I don't think this is crazy to say, we have a small sample size, I'll say that too. They do seem to be more likely to be innovative or unique rigs or animations when they are those smaller animal packs, because they can put more effort into those handful of animals. So if we look at the most innovative animals that are in Planet Zoo, or the most unique ones, they've all come from the scenery packs. Southeast Asia had barely anything new in it. The binturong was probably a new rig, and the proboscis monkey was unique, but every other animal was just a clone of some kind that recycled animations or different types of behavior from other animals. The clouded leopard is just a jaguar or a lion or a tiger. The sun bear recycled a lot of different bear animations, even though it's quite a unique bear, which was a bit upsetting. The Babirusa had a couple of unique animations, but it's otherwise just the warthog with or the tapir rig. The tapir is literally just an exact copy of the Beard's tapir, and the Dole recycled a lot of the dingo/wolf rigs. So from that perspective, if we look at the animal packs relative to the scenery packs got things like penguins and meerkats and kangaroos. These were all really unique animals, and they were in the smaller, scenery packs. So it is more likely that scenery packs actually have more innovative or special animals than animal packs. Now again, we only had one, so I don't want to judge it entirely. But seemingly, anyone who is saying, oh, well, I wish we had something crazy like a gibbon or something, but the only chance we get of having that is from animal packs, that isn't necessarily true, because statistically right now, it is more likely that those unique rigs come from theme packs and not from animal packs. Now again, that could totally change, and in my first video I mentioned that we are more likely to get more animals, therefore it should be more likely we get unique rigs. But as of right now, with our very, very small sample size of 1 versus 6, I believe, currently theme packs seem to be a bit better in the innovative animal department. So a thing that I also want to mention, because I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, is, well, if we're going to get Theme Maker's Toolkit, like you said in last video, then why does it even matter? We don't need scenery because people can make their own props. And a point that I want to make to that, as one of the biggest, if not probably the most prominent prop modder out there, is TMTK, or modding for that matter, doesn't have the manpower to satiate the demand for props. It takes about as long to make a single prop as it does to make an animal. And so if you're really quick about it and smart like I have been, you can create these elaborate packs and stuff. But let's say it works exactly the same as Planet Coaster did with Theme Maker's Toolkit. If you notice, Theme Maker's Toolkit and Planet Coaster didn't really extend the game's lifespan that much. And that was just because people couldn't keep up with the demand that people were having. People wanted new props constantly. And even if they got new props, it had to be something they wanted. And so I would say that official salaried employees who are paid to work on hundreds of props of a given theme or whatever is a lot more valuable than a bunch of hobbyists doing this out of their spare time, and probably not going to be as high of a quality as, again, professional environmental artists. You're going to get a couple of really nice props, but the community just isn't big enough with, professionals to satiate that environmental artist demand. I do think, however, the animal department for modding is that, that exact thing that I'm talking about, where I feel like animals are cranked out daily, but right now the prop game is exclusive to me, NDP, and JoJo, and we have limitations, so maybe Theme Maker's Toolkit will open up a few new people, but I don't really see it being that huge of an audience, and that's kind of a shame, because I know how much people want new props. But the simple fact is, we just don't have the manpower because we're not paid to make them. So, from that perspective, official props would be awesome, and that's exactly what I want. Now, the last point that I want to mention that I'm just going to basically reiterate from my last video is the solution to appeasing both people is quite clear to me. It's quite clear to the rest of the fan base, and that is, we just need a halvesies pack. Just give us more animals, 6 animals or something, and a little bit of props. Maybe less than 100, 50 or 60, just to kind of round out the theme. I know there's a lot of things like wall sets and stuff like that that are very low risk but high piece count. So if we could do something like that in the future, I think that would be the best case scenario. Because I'm sure animal lovers still want scenery. I really refuse to believe that there are people that just, they really don't want any scenery. They want just animals to just fill up their roster, because I feel like we all want the same thing at the end of the day. It always seems like this is like a back and forth debate, but I am pretty sure everyone in the community is on the same boat. We just want more of everything. We want more scenery, we want more animals, we want more frequent updates. And so it's very simple that all we want is just something that shows that they are listening and they can kind of appease both. Now, as always, thank you for watching my video. I hope this kind of enlightened you to the other side of the constant, debate. But the idea is just, we all want the same thing at the end of the day. We just want this game to be as good as possible. So, thank you all for watching. If you did like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Always, I like to have a discussion in the comment section to hear your opinions and stuff. Did I do a good job defending both arguments? Please tell me in the comments below. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.